Hello fellow photographers. Today we're going to be taking just a little bit of time and talking about what is ISO and what it affects. 3 weeks ago I posted a video on how to find your maximum acceptable ISO value. At the time when I decided to shoot that video, I was thinking more about understanding the limitations of your camera. So now we're going to jump back into ISO and talk about what it is, what it affects, and why would you ever want to push it higher than its lowest setting. So jumping right in. ISO or ASA was originally referred to as the sensitivity of the film and its light gathering ability. The higher the ISO rating, the more likely you are to capture the image in low light. High ISO film is called fast film because it requires a shorter exposure than a low ISO film. All of these terms follow into digital photography, so your ISO rating refers to the sensitivity of your camera's sensor. Your ISO setting is one of the 3 elements used to control exposure. The other 2 are f-stop and shutter speed. In most cases, setting the f-stop and the shutter speed is all you'll need to do to properly expose your image, while leaving your ISO at a low setting like somewhere between 64 and 400. I usually leave mine at 64 unless I need to boost it, but that is the last of the 3 settings I change. In some situations, the combination of changing just your shutter speed and your f-stop may not allow enough light to reach your sensor. The solution then is to boost your ISO to increase the sensor's sensitivity to the light and allow more light to hit the sensor. The reason I would generally say this is the last of the 3 you want to boost, because like with the shutter speed being harder to hand hold at a slower shutter speed, or the more open an f-stop having too little depth of field, ISO comes with its own drawbacks to boosting to a higher rating. With film cameras, using higher ISO such as ISO 400 to 1000 plus often results in very noticeable graining. With digital photography, the equivalent is noise. You will often hear the 2 terms used interchangeably, and honestly that's fine. They pretty much refer to the same thing, but noise is from digital, grain is from film. Honestly, it's pretty much the same thing. In my previous video about finding your maximum acceptable ISO rating, you will see some of the images have a lot of noise in them when they are taken at a higher ISO rating. This is where you need to decide what is required for your shot and what settings you're willing to change to achieve the shot you're trying to get. Some pictures with noise in them can still come out very powerful, beautiful pictures, but then some can also be ruined by too much noise. This is a decision you need to make while you are shooting. To test these effects, go out with your camera at night, handhold your camera, boost the ISO, and just see what kind of pictures you can get with that high ISO and allow the noise to get in. Use your camera meter to expose properly, but just kind of see what you can get and what noise is acceptable for you and what isn't. This will be a great way to kind of understand how your ISO works and what you are willing to live with. Until next week, happy shooting.